Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in to another Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetic Center video. And today we're going to talk about validating your identity. And as I was speaking with God this morning, a lot of us are afraid to validate who we are in God. And most of us need to understand that the only way that we have grown, the only way that we know who we are, the only way that we see we are in Christ, if we use the tools that God has allowed Christ to give us. And for many of us, when faced with obstacles, when faced with choices, when faced with things that we don't understand, we forget that we already have the tools to overcome the things that we're going through. So for many of us, we are in a challenging month where God is doing things to allow you to see how powerful you are. He allowing things to happen to know that you can make the right choice. He's allowing things to happen to make sure that you can make the right decisions. He's allowing things to happen to make sure that you will be okay if you are alone. But a lot of us, we're failing that very test because we what we have done, we have mislabeled tests as gifts and gifts as tests. And so many of us are stuck in a complacent cycle because we cannot go all out for God. We cannot give God our all. Everybody still want to hold something back for a piece of themselves. When we go to 2 Corinthians 5 and 17, it says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away beyond, behold, the new has come. So for many of us, we think we in Christ, but we still have the old mentality. We still have the old way of looking at things. We still have the old way of dealing with things. And that's why a lot of relationship is not going to last this season. It's because they are using the old on the new. So the Bible tells us you can't put new wine in old wineskin. So the thing that you did to keep this man, to keep this woman, to get this man, that's not what's gonna happen in this season. That's why I be trying to tell you single folks, this red flag way of dating that the world has given you, that's not of God. Because you're allowing past behavior, past situation determine who is or who ain't for you based on if they give you any red flags. Our whole life is full of red flags. When we wake up in the morning, it's a red flag. When we go through our day, it's a red flag. When we go to sleep, it's a red flag. When we eat, when we walk out the door, why is a red flag? Because at any given time, our life can be gone. It can be gone. So, how many of you are validating an identity in Christ using the old way of life, the old way of doing things. Galatians 2 and 20, it says, I have been crucified with Christ. It is not no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. See, a lot of you are not crucified with Christ because you still trying to be alive. When you don't get what you want, how do you act? When people don't say what you want to hear, how do you act? When you don't get things your way, how do you act? There's no God in you because most often everybody act in their emotions. Of course, if you, Brother Hubbard, because he don't care, because I don't value that. Because the life I live by faith in the Son of God. If I have money today, I might not have none tomorrow, but guess what? I know God will take care of me. If I can be sitting here and teaching one day, go outside, get shot by mistake, I'm dead, but I don't care because I know God gonna take care of me. A lot of you are trying to take care of yourself. That's why you are struggling and oftentimes smothering, pushing, and belittling things that could help you get to your next level, but because you still trying to live, your emotions are in control of what you do. In control. Because you don't know how valuable, see, spiritually speaking, you got to know how valuable you are in spirit before a person in the flesh can really understand your value. That's why I often said that if a man can't take a woman to God, what good is them taking you to bed? You just a mattress tester. You just something they use to get their rocks off. You don't know how powerful or valuable you are. So what do? You devalue yourself so a man can look at your body, so he can see what you do in bed. And now your value is based on how much love you can show him because you ain't got no love to give him because you don't love yourself enough to know that it is more than how your clothes fit. It's more than a thing. It's more than what you put on. But since you have no value in you, the only value you see is what you put on that can lead some man to a bedroom so you can put what you want to put on him, and then that's your value. You know how many, listen here, I- I'm trying to figure out how to put it. Can't figure out how to put it, so I might not say it. But I will say, never think what you can do in a bedroom or kitchen or your appearance. Never think that's what keep a man. And y'all gonna see in the coming years, I'm ahead of myself in this one. The value on getting married, it isn't gonna be on what a person have, what they can do, and what you can get. It's gonna be, can you hear God for that person? And can that person hear God for you? Because that's that threefold cord that's gonna be needed. So the reason you around here looking for validation from a man or a woman is because most often You dealing with people who don't see value in themselves. First Peter 2 and 9. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into a marvelous light. See, a lot of y'all think y'all in the light. You got shades on. See, you don't really want to see God for who he is. You don't want to see how tore up you are. So what you do, you put on shades so you can just see the light and filter out your darkness. But when you come around people around like me, I'm gonna see your darkness before I see your light because your darkness shines bright when you're trying to imitate light. So that's why you go through all the hardships. That's why you go through all the pain. That's why you go through all the changes because you don't see the value of who you are because you don't understand the identity that you already got. So y'all want to be somebody's sorrow, frat brother. You want to be a president, CEO. Ain't it strange that you black people, y'all got what y'all consider a black woman running for presidency? And this black woman, y'all asking her to give y'all some kind of thing of what she gonna do for the black community. And then we got all these black people on this earth. And you mean to tell me that y'all black woman, you can't find a qualified black man to be your VP? They're all white men. I rest my case. You don't tell me that not one black man is qualified to be a vice president, not one black woman that's qualified to be a vice president. They're all of the other color because she ain't black. She don't care about y'all. Y'all had a black man in there for 8 years and he never did nothing for you. Now y'all once again being the field niggas. I hope Massa do something for me. Riding with Biden. Hope Massa do something for me. See, the house niggas ain't getting y'all nothing. So now y'all want something that you ain't gonna get because you're trying to make somebody be something they ain't. Ain't no power in that woman, just like ain't no power in you. See, when you chosen, you ain't got to change who you are to get people to accept you, be like you, want to be with you. If they can't accept you for who you are, kick bricks. Kick bricks. If they don't, if you can't be you, kick bricks. Y'all trying so hard to fit what you think people want that you don't even see, you don't even fit what they need. Ephesians 2 and 10. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Now, what good work have you done for God? You ain't bringing nobody to Christ. You ain't supporting, you ain't giving, you ain't sacrificing. So what good works are you doing? You know what's wrong with a lot of y'all? You waiting on God to give you the answer before you obey. That's why a lot of y'all tore up. You want to make sure that you're doing right before you do right. That ain't how this works. Because see, God is on a time limit. It's called eternity. It's called minute by minute. You do understand delayed disobedience, partial disobedience, and disobedience is still all the same to God. Disobedience. We in a hear it, do it. So if you hear it and don't do it, you disobedience and you wonder why you can't see no way out. We, we in the 4-4-4. That's where we at. That's where we at. What does that mean? He's trying to get you that you understand the totality of who you are by the totality of what he instructs you to do, by the totality of seeing the power that's in you, that then you begin to see creation understand you. 4-4-4. But you care about how your wife look, see you. You care about how your husband see you. You care about your friends. You care about your families. Y'all see, I'm trying to teach you something, but you ain't listening. Everything that you got to value, that's what God coming out. That's why I told you. I ain't got no value. I don't value. I don't even value myself. Everything that has value in your life, here it come. And we don't see, can you live by the words that many of you been saying? I love you, God, more than anything. I give my all for God. I do this. But guess what? Everybody's still holding on and ain't trying to see if they really love. Ain't my business though. Ain't my business. My position in this season is to not convince you of anything. I'ma say it. You make your choice. I'm through with it. I'm on to the next message. I'm on to the next position. I'm on to the next place because I got a time limit on my life. And if people don't want to grow, if people don't want to hear, if people don't want to listen, you do know that don't affect my relationship with God not one iota because I'm doing what I'm called to do. 2 Timothy 1-7, for God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. Some of y'all so out of control, it scares me. But you say you hear God. You love God. But if a feather lands on your finger wrong, you're going to cuss the feather out. Boy, it's because ain't no love in you. Because guess what? Ain't no power in you. All right? Because guess what? Because you scared. That's why I talked on it yesterday. A lot of y'all scared to lose things that you have of value. So what you're doing, you're devaluing yourself to keep what you thinking of value, and all God trying to show you, you don't even value yourself. So why should I give you something that I value that you don't even see the value in who you are? And y'all running around here like it's a game. Some of y'all around here trying to bargain with God. Some of you around here trying to manipulate God. It ain't working. All God name to some of you is a hairstyle, is a hat. You put it on and off as long as it benefits you. And when you get what you want and you think it's God, you take it off because some of you don't even know how to treat it. Some of you is pushing unhappy happiness through the spirit and you calling it God. And then now you want to give God an ultimatum on what he needs to do for you, when, where, and how. It ain't your time and sweetie. Y'all can't make God rush nothing. It says let patience have its perfect work. Patience. And the only patience y'all got is the patience to rush to do what you want to do because you don't believe God unless God actually give you what you think he wants you to have. Some of y'all whole life to get ripped from you, ripped away from you, and you ain't even gonna know. Some of you ain't even gonna recover. You ain't gonna recover. You know why? You're too emotional. You're too vindictive. You're too angry. You're too depressed. Huh? You're too sneaky. See, God ain't finna give his perfection to people who don't understand they have imperfection, but they call it perfection because they don't want to see that they're imperfect. John 1 and 12. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Do you have the right to ask God for something that makes you happy when God is so unhappy with you? Colossians 3 and 3. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. What's your identity? How can you validate that your life is in God when you constantly gossiping, when you constantly lying, some of you constantly cussing, you constantly angry, you constantly depressed? Ain't no God in you. Unless, of course, you brother Hubbard. Don't matter to me. See, when you get over people, you do good. When you get over things, you do better. When you get over living, you at the top of your game. I don't live for happiness. I don't live for love. I don't live for things. I don't live to be appreciated. I don't live to be for fame. I don't live to get rich. I don't listen here. I don't live to be called daddy. I live to do what God tells me. And a lot of you can't accept what God tells people, so you ain't ready to live for God. So why would God give something to people who who don't even value what they don't need to value? The whole duty of man is to obey God. It said the whole duty. I love my wife with all my heart. I love my husband with all. That ain't your duty. So we missing that God has to be our all in all. God has to be our provider. But a lot of us can't see it that way because your life ain't hidden in God. See, when your life hidden in God, certain things shouldn't even be named among you. You can't still be struggling with the same thing 20, 30 years later, and you supposedly being a Christian 15, 20 years. John 1, 11 through 13, he was in the world, and the world was made through him. Yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believe in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. You know that just validated what I just told you about 3 minutes ago. I don't live for nothing but do the will of God. That's why I can come into people's lives and they don't know who I am. It's because from what I see, you're not living in the will of God. That's what it's saying. Ain't nothing like people that'll come to you and say, God sent me to you, or God sent you for me. And you sit there, and when you watch the totality of who they are, they ain't moved by the will of God. They're not moved by the Spirit of God. They're moved by emotions, understanding, and their own selfish will. I'm trying to tell you, we in a whole new category. Don't y'all allow yourself to be in bondage with people who don't know, who not trying, or who won't accept the will of God.